Okay, this is now the tarot lesson number 5, and I'd like to give you a suggestion on how to go about doing a reading for somebody else, or how to go about starting a reading for you, or just if you want to practice and get to know cards better. I may have done something like this before, but I can't remember. If I did, it was a long time ago. And the other thing is, every time you do this, you can do it you can do it 1,000 times, and it's going to be different, slightly different each time. And what you do is you're going to explain what the tarot is and kind of how it works. And while you're talking or thinking, if you're talking, you would be explaining to the questioner, or if you're doing it for yourself, you're just thinking, or maybe you talk out loud. But you're also going to be listening to what you say, because you're going to notice that you say things you didn't know that you knew, or you're going to say things that are different from what you expected you were going to say, or you're going to come up with a different explanation or see something different about a card you've seen multiple times before. And I'll give you an example. So we say to the person, and the camera's up here. Normally there would be somebody sitting opposite you. So I'm going to arrange the cards this way. So you say to the person, in the tarot there are four suits. There's swords, which represent hardship, conflict and strife, or whatever you might make of swords. There's batons, which represent energy, enterprise and career and business, and it's kind of a good suit. We've also got cups, which represents love, emotions, home, family, that kind of thing. And the last card we've got, or the last suit rather, is, if I can find one, coins, which represents money. But more importantly, I think it represents values. So it gives you an idea of what you care about. So if you look, you'll see there's a picture in each card. So here we've got somebody on a horse celebrating. And so you look at the picture on the card and you use the picture and what's going on in it to answer the question. So somebody might say, am I going to get the job? And you get this card, yes, you're going to, it looks good. You're in control, you're in charge, and you've got supporters around you. Whereas, am I going to get the job? And you get the Four of Swords. This is somebody lying down and lying maybe asleep. So will you get it? Yeah, are you sure you really want it? Because it looks like the person in this picture is thinking and meditating and contemplating. So we get an idea from the picture of what's going on. Then we've got court cards, kings, queens, knights and pages. And you go through the deck and you find there's a Knight of Cups. And then we've got the Page of Pentacles, kings, queens, knights and pages. Maybe you would go through and find a king, a queen, a knight and a page and put them down. But what am I looking for? A king maybe. And if I can find, oh, there's a King of Pentacles. Okay, so we've got, I don't have a queen. Okay, it doesn't matter because you know what queens look like. Okay, so we've got kings, queens, knights and pages, and maybe you explain that pages and knights represent younger people, so, or they can represent inexperience. So with the Page of Coins, you're just new to money, let's say, or if you think of Pentacles as representing values and what you care about, it's as if you've begun a new cycle or a new way of looking at things that you care about, and so it's new. And the same with knights are messengers, and then kings and queens represent established people, or people who are good at things, or people who like to give orders, or people who naturally expect to be obeyed. So you think, because you think about what does a king represent, and kings are in charge ideally, and they know what they're about, and they're good rulers, and they give good orders, and they give good instructions. And maybe at this point you say, whereas if the king is upside down, it can represent somebody who's out their depth. So they're in a high position, or they're in a position where they're expected to give good orders, but they don't. Either because they don't know how to, or they just give bad orders. And there's something about, I think it's Murphy's Law, where people are always promoted one step or one level beyond what they're capable of. So somebody who's a good manager gets to be the CEO, and he was a really good manager, but a terrible CEO. That often happens, where you're really good at what you're doing, and then you get a promotion, or you move into the next step up, and it's sort of one step beyond you. And that can be what's shown by the king, or even a queen upside down. Then we have 22 major trumps, they're called, like the Chariot, the Hierophant. And these are cards with names and titles. And maybe some people think that major trumps are more important than minor trumps, because these ones here, the Ace, 2, 3, are minor trumps. Are they more important? Somehow, if you pick 3 cards and they're all major trumps, it looks like it's what's shown in the spread is going to be important. Whereas if you get 3 minor trumps, maybe it's not going to be quite as important. Although I say that, but I don't know if I really mean it. So we've got cards with titles. And so normally I like to ask people to pick a number between 1 and 9 and tell me which one. And then pick a number between 0 and 22 and tell me which one. Right, so let's say the person chose 4 and 12. Okay, so I would show them some major trumps, but then I would say, okay, you picked a number 4 that happens to be the Emperor. And so the Emperor, so it's like you're telling you at the moment, you want to do things in a big way. You want an empire, right? You want to be in charge of a large organization. Maybe it's a business, or maybe it's just you in charge of your life. So you want power, or you need power. You need authority, because the emperor's authoritative. And so you want to be in a high position or well regarded by other people. So you've got ambition. But the second number you chose was 12 for the Hanged Man. And the Hanged Man, you can see, is somebody hanging upside down. And the Hanged Man can represent delay and suspension. So this can mean, you put these 2 numbers together, it can mean that yes, you've got ambition and you can go places and do big things, but it's going to take you longer than you expect because this is delay. Or by all means have your ambition, but instead of trying to proceed with it now, stop for a moment and think things through, represented by the Hanged Man, and maybe make sure that you haven't assumed certain things that are not going to happen, or you're depending on other people to provide stuff that they can't provide. In some way, the Hanged Man, picking the number 12 as well as the number 4, is you kind of warning yourself to take it easy and maybe to slow down a bit and to look at things from a different angle, because you look at the Hanged Man hanging upside down. We look at the world and we look at it all the same way. The Hanged Man looks at the world from a different angle, from a different perspective. And you choosing the number 12 can be you telling you, okay, we know what we want to do, the Emperor, but we need to look at it from a different angle and make sure that we're not just seeing what we want to see, or that we're not biased in a way that is going to interfere with the situation further down the road. So that's the kind of introduction you give to the questioner, because now you've told them about different areas of life and different kinds of activities. You've told them about court cards representing people, although maybe the next time you do this, you talk about how kings can represent people who are in control, but they can also represent situations about questions about who's in charge or who makes the final decision. Because a king can represent questions about authority or power and so on. And then you've got the major trumps as well, which represent different things. And again, you can talk about the Hierophant, for instance, might show teaching and learning, where you've got the expert, some kind of expert, or somebody with qualifications above, and the two people down below studying or paying attention to what they're being told by the controlling figure. So that can mean your boss, let's say, or if you live in a condo, you've got the person who's in charge of the condo owners association, whatever it happens to be. Or maybe this is within a family, and that's the mother or the father who makes the decisions, and the other people have to obey. They don't have to obey, but they know what they're talking about. So with the Hierophant, pay attention to experts or people who know what they're about. With the Hierophant upside down, experts will tell you what to do, but maybe they're wrong. So don't just take things at face value or jump to conclusions. So that, I think, is one good way to begin a reading. And so if you do that more than once, then each time you do it, you're going to say something slightly different. And you're going to, if you listen to yourself, you're going to find that you're explaining things differently, or you're noticing something you didn't notice before. And I think what you do is you write it all down in your notebook and then move on to the next step, or put the cards away. And I like to give a little shuffle at the end. Not anything big, but something like that, just to sort of put a full stop at the end of the sentence. And then that's it. Okay? That was number 5. So I'll be back with number 6, ideally in 3 days. So today's Sunday, so Wednesday. Okay. Thanks a lot for watching, and bye-bye for now.